Welcome to Business Coaching Secrets with Karl, Bryan. If you want to attract new high-end coaching clients, fill live events, and build a wildly profitable coaching practice where business owners pay, stay, and refer, you've come to the right place. In this podcast, Karl provides his keys to the kingdom for finding and signing high-paying clients and building the coaching business of your dreams. Here we go.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Business Coaching Secrets, where we give you the strategies, the mindsets, and the frameworks to building your own six, and dare I say, seven-figure coaching business. I am, of course, the host with the most, the road dog, with none other than the man, the myth, the king of the Caribbean, Dr. Karl Bryan. Welcome to the show.
Yo, not a doctor, by the way. Got a hurricane flowing through, well, tropical storm flowing through that may or may not become a hurricane. So there you go. That's what's happened in the Caribbean today, bud.
Hey,
Get that off camera.
it's just thought of this. Like, are you just waiting for like Hurricane Tammy to roll through just so you can have some fun with that?
I am. How'd you know?
I could just about imagine. Like, it would be like, it would go from slightly funny to really annoying, where she hates it so much, but you are going to push through and it's going to become funny again. I believe in you that when that day happens, I will be cheering for you, my friend. It's going to be great.
There was a Hurricane Karl, and my dad, I sent him a message and I said, Hurricane Karl's coming through. And he goes, I hope you get a piece of it. Oh, my fuck. Until
there you go. All right, folks. Let's dive into this episode here. But you know what? I wanted to ask you, just sort of, because you and I were kind of having kind of a cool, kind of thought-provoking conversation prior. But without going into too deep a rabbit holes, give me something thought-provoking that you've been thinking about.
oh, something thought. Okay, so my mind always goes to my daily emails, but here's something that I wrote in a daily email, the last few days. You're not making the money you need because you're not making the decisions you need. Wrote that and I was like, oh, that's got some power, right? Again, you're not making, your clients aren't making the money because they're not making the decisions, right? Money loves speed. You got to be fast to decide. You got to be fast to execute. Got to be fast to implement on, let's call them good ideas. You don't want to be fast to implement bad ideas. The problem is you don't know if it's a good or a bad idea until you implement. But anywho, fast to implement on ideas, fast to respond, fast to ship, fast to deliver, fast to quote. And by the way, I don't care about your great ideas. I care about your ability to execute, right? Like needing nothing attracts everything. Commission breath stinks. But again, needing nothing attracts everything. But at the end of the day, you've got, you know what I mean? You're not worried about what people think. You're not worried about failure, right? You're not worried about what could go wrong, what the missteps that may happen. What you got to do is you got to be ridiculously fast to execute, and you got to do it at a high level. And actually, here's something thought-provoking I was thinking about. Ironically, talking about my dad. I was chatting to my dad earlier, and my dad and I, we chat, pretty much every day. And so $1 million today has purchasing power of about $90,000 in 1977. Right. So my dad, reason where that's the date, that's the year that my dad bought our family home. So when you're discussing interest rates, right now and then, it's an idiot's argument. You know what I mean? Because when you're talking about $90,000 versus, $1 million, thinking real estate, there's, you know what I mean? It's different planet altogether, right? And high interest rates will what? They could take somebody to a negative place, is what we were talking about, right? But when you're in a negative, what I would parlay that into, and the thought is, when you're in a negative mindset, you will see obstacles, but when you're in a positive mindset, you see opportunities, right? So negative mindset, you see obstacles. Positive frame of mind, positive mindset, you're going to see the opportunities in front of you, right? So again, You're going to thought-provoking. Look, you're going to, I always say you don't need hundreds and hundreds of leads. You need a powerful demonstration, right? Super important. So you got to pitch clients from a positive place, a strong place, a confident place, right? And by the way, your energy matters as much, maybe debatably more than what you say, right? People are attracted with people with high levels of energy. So again, pitching people from a positive place, from a strong place, from a place of confidence. Anywho, yeah, that's, I don't know, but the one, you're not making the money you need because you're not making the decisions required, right? You're not making the money you need because you're not making the decisions you need. Incredible power in that, in my opinion. Are you making enough decision, and are you executing? Are you executing quickly on those decisions? So Shoots, that's my thought.
Okay, so you mentioned, so I'm gonna lead you down a path here. Pitching people from a positive place. Wow, say that 5 times real fast. Pitching people from a positive place. Give me a good elevator pitch as a business coach. Let's go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah. Okay. And again, go back to what I said a second ago. The way that you pitch it, the energy at which you pitch it, the confidence which you pitch it, the conviction behind your voice when you pitch it is going to be critical to an elevator pitch being pulled off. But so again, I get a number of these memorized. But to say this, I live for challenging, distinctive small business marketing challenges that other business consultants wouldn't go near if their life depended on it. I work with AI integrated profit acceleration software and a team of global business coaches and creative masterminds as part of Karl Bryan's Focus.com community who provide extraordinary, one-of-a-kind business and marketing solutions. So what I want you to do is present me with your most pressing business or marketing challenge, even one that appears impossible on the surface, and my AI integrated software will create a bulletproof game plan that I'll provide for you. We'll flawlessly execute on the plan to deliver financial breakthroughs beyond your marketing budget's loftiest expectations. And then I'll back that up. I'll back that claim up with a written ROI, return on investment guarantee. So there is zero doubt that I will deliver you and your business the profitable results you've been looking and wishing for. There you go, Shoots. Really, and I might just, and another, so we built software, and one of the positions of our software is we can find any business owner $100,000 in 45 minutes without them spending an extra dollar on marketing or advertising. It's so often we'll provide that to our clients. What they do is they forget the second half without spending a dollar on marketing or advertising. And it's not nearly as powerful without it. So again, I'll find you, I've got software that'll find you $100,000 in 45 minutes without you spending an extra dollar on marketing or advertising. That too, very powerful pitch. What do you think, Shoots? There you go. That's what I'd say.
Just rolls right off the tongue. Hey, rolls right out. Hey, but listen, you did mention AI, so let's dive in a little bit. Again, this is, especially you and I, we could talk about this for the next 14 days, but give me some thoughts around AI and where it's going for business coaches, right? I think that's an important part too, because we were just talking about AI and then sort of the ripple effect and everything else. But when it comes to business coaches specifically, give me just some thoughts around that.
Yeah. Look, it's gasoline for your coaching business. Don't see it as a threat. It's an opportunity on steroids. And think in terms of solving problems, right? So think like, place a pen to paper and, an iPhone and your iPad, if that's your Remarkable, whatever your thing is, right? But pen to paper on use cases for AI for your clients, right? So you gotta go past social media posting and writing emails, which is obvious use of AI. And of course you should be using it for that, right? But like go to a hair salon. What's a huge problem for a hair salon? Well, it's setting appointments and answering calls, right? So AI will look after this, falling off a log, and save hair salons an insane amount of time and expense. By the way, time, money, management. So they'll be like open 24/7 for calls, text and notifications, all done for you, plus the appointment bookings and the adjustments, right? So in essence, an AI chatbot that answers the calls, handles the bookings, the reschedules, does the appointment setting, the calendar for each hairdresser, sends out the text, sends out the email reminders, communicates with them, reduces staff, and the no-show rate, I would assume, is going to, you know what I mean, go down. And nobody, you know what I mean, like people aren't going to be missing communication, et cetera, right? Because again, when a plane goes down, it is pilot error over, mechanical issues times a million, right? And this is all going to happen 24/7. So no more missed calls or the message of call at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning when we're open, right? That's a huge problem and lost revenues. Or let's go maybe a cafe, a coffee shop, right? What's a huge problem for them? Well, I can tell you that if you know anything about the restaurant space, wastage is a huge issue, right? So lettuce and tomatoes going bad. Well, why? Because it's difficult to track inventory and predicting demand, which effectively leads to overstock or worse, shortages, which are lost sales, right? So an AI tool that'll manage sales patterns. So think weekends versus a Tuesday, which is going to be different, right? So it predicts inventory demand by past experience. Again, AI is about machine learning. It learns, it gets smarter every single day. The same way that you go to Amazon, choose a book, and then it's got a really good idea as to what the next book is that will complement it. Or you go to Netflix and you pick a movie, and the more movies that you've chosen, the more accurate they are in terms of the shows that you're going to like, and they put them right in front of you, right? So it's the learning, right? So again, it's going to be able to predict the inventory and the demand. It's going to automate restock orders. Not to mention, I think it could probably suggest promo items to reduce waste, right? Promo items in the summer, in the winter, in the spring, in the fall, they're going to be a little bit different. Well, pilot error versus mechanical issues, they're going to get it right more than your staff is generally. And no brain cells need to be killed, right? Like, again, that's an AI application, or maybe it's a gym, right? What do? They're struggling to keep clients engaged with the class schedule and follow-up, right? Well, I don't know, an AI system that tracks client preferences and attendance, sending personalized workout recommendations and automated check-in messages, which are going to do what? I'd imagine that they're going to boost retention, and it's going to increase the number of attendees. Guess what a gym wants to do? If you go to a gym class and there's only one person there, it's very lame. You don't come back. You go to a gym session, there's lots of people there. There's a high level of energy. More people come back, right? Or maybe a flower shop. I may or may not have been in a flower shop today to buy some lovely flowers for my wife, not roses. She doesn't dig roses, by the way. I learned that the hard way. But anyway, so what? Like a flower shop handling repetitive customer inquiries about store hours, about product availability, trends. So Valentine's Day coming up, guess what? They're going to ensure that there's lots of roses in stock. Why? Red roses on Valentine's Day, they literally go hand in hand, right? So, and like an AI chat bot on their website and social media answering, and on social media answering common questions instantly, by the way. It's going to control inventory, and it's going to escalate complex issues to staff, which is going to allow brain cells to be saved, and very importantly, saving time, saving money. So a bunch of use cases, and again, use AI to work out the use cases, right? So it's an opportunity on steroids to be able to help business owners and manners like that, chat bot, the emails and the social media posts, that's the foundation, but there's so much more to it. And as I say this, like, losers play not to lose, winners play to win. You got to play this game to win. You got to play you got to see business coaching as a sport, and you need to play it to win, not to lose, right? Like I mentioned last week, maybe the week before, like we've created 21 AI agents for our software. It's basically a business coaching dojo that, quite frankly, is insane. It's like so awesome. It's already working and being integrated into our software. It's been painful and it has been incredibly expensive, but I got to tell you, it's going to be so worth it, because again, it's just insane. Just imagine again having, the best accountant in the entire city sitting with you as you're trying to control costs and cut costs for your landscaping client, for the florist or the cafe or the gym, etc. So opportunities, you got to run to it, not to run away from it. I will say this though, security, hard not to talk about AI and not talk about security, which you and I were doing a little bit on the pre-show. I said this in a joke in my daily email, but seriously think about this. Like, all animals have a natural predator, right? Well, we as humans do not. Okay, so are we actively creating our predator with AI? Right. And once the toothpaste is out of the tube, it's not going back in. Relying on Zuckerberg, Elon, and the boys to control this is a pipe dream. They are answerable to two things, and that is earnings and shareholders. I heard this too. I don't know where I heard it. It was a podcast or something. But if we knew that there was an alien ship on the way and it was like 2.5 years away from landing, what would we be doing? We'd be pooping our pants and preparing, right? And like, is that on the way? I don't know. And I don't want to be an alarmist, by the way, but holy smokes, we're actively spending billions per month to build what could, effectively end capitalism and, very importantly, civilization for our children, our grandchildren, and our great-great-grandchildren as we know it. So anyways, the reality, we don't know what's to come. Right. But I wish there were some guardrails built to manage this stuff and keep it a little bit more secure. Right. Like the goal can't be to make as much money as possible from it. Right. And that's where we're at. Right. Equal airtime needs to go to security and implementation. And what Mother Teresa would say is never disregard the impact one person's love can have on the world. And I would just say that to you that, don't underestimate the impact that your voice could potentially have in terms of saying, you know what I mean? We got to keep this thing a little bit more secure. We got to try and keep some of this toothpaste in the tube, right? But anywho, without going down that rabbit hole, but I do think that's very relevant. Like opportunity is abundant right here, right now. And in the words of Dan Kennedy, you can use it or you can fight it. In fact, I think what he said is you can profit from it or you can fight it. I recommend that you profit from it because it's a wild opportunity. Like, here's a question, Road Dog, right? So are we going to allow me to get an AI agent to register a company, to create a Facebook account, and open up a bank account on my behalf, right? Think about it. Making money is such a clear and defined goal. What is AI really, really good at? Accomplishing a clear and defined goal, right? So I make an AI agent as an expert in what? In helping people lose weight for their wedding. I tell it to not stop tweaking the ads, adjusting, modifying the price, the landing page, the sales video, until it's netting me $25,000 a month. And then we'll recalibrate the plan to spend more, scale further. It creates a business plan, it executes, it works 24/7, attracting people all over the world, right? Through Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is, attracting people about to have a wedding to follow the step-by-step plan that we have created that presumably be really, really good. Because how would we create it? We'd create it through through AI. It collects the money, it pings me when we get to, what do they say, $25,000 net per month as instructed, and then we recalibrate, right? So I don't know, like that's the kind of stuff that, you see and frankly is coming. In what manner, I don't know. But again, the better the prompt you give it, the more clear the destination, the easier it is for AI. And I could see a place where these kinds of things are happening, right? So the future is either incredibly exciting or incredibly scary. Your only option is to make it exciting, in my opinion, and it is a grand opportunity right now. Again, our new business coaching dojo with 21 AI agents, it's just going to be insane for the business coaching industry. But I just wish that people in charge were working more on security than they are on making money and creating shareholder value. But again, toothpaste coming out of that tube. So anywho, those are my thoughts. But importantly, don't fear it, run to it. It is gasoline on steroids for your coaching. So that's my answer, Shoots.
Okay, well, let's get away from AI and the mind of robots, and let's get into the mind of Karl Bryan. You know where I'm going, Shits. Zen. Let's go. Let's do it.
Okay, so I gave this a little bit of thought this morning, and so I've been studying longevity a decent amount. I mean, frankly, I've been studying that for some time, but I kind of diving into it a little bit. Peter Attias, his name's slipping by. I believe that's it. Peter Matthias. Anyways, he's, good guy to follow. Let's put it that way. I'm probably messing up his name, so apologies. And maybe I'm getting old, by the way. So I'll just tell you this, that all studies, so you're thinking about longevity. I was thinking about longevity. Let's talk about longevity, right? So all studies say the secret to living a long life is one thing. And of course, they've got different thoughts on supplements, exercise, diet, etc. But they all agree on one thing, and that is physical movement. Walk, jog, run, do stairs, move all parts of your body. Also critical, by the way, is that you lift heavy weights if you want to live a long time, which, by the way, is part of movement, right? But again, not necessarily well. I don't know, there's a lot of people out there saying that, but there's a lot of science behind it. You got to lift heavy things consistently if you want to live a long time. But more to the point, like, so they all agree on moving. And my question would be, are you moving enough, right? Are you getting in your 10,000 steps? Track it. What gets measured gets managed. Sleep, and by the way, sleep, should probably needs to get an honorable mention there. So does social interaction, which is a huge part of mental well-being, which adds not only to your longevity, but very importantly to the quality of your life. Because it's not about just living a long time. What you want to do is you want to have a great life, right? I would imagine that needs to be your goal, right? It's not tons of money. It's not a big house. It's not a cool car. It's having a great life. If those things add to your great life, to your client's great life, then all the power to you. But at the end of the day, it needs to be quality of life, right? So again, social interaction, again, lots of science behind that to say that people that live a very, very long time have very active social lives. Anyways, but the bottom line is move. I've got this new Aura ring that is just unbelievable. Like it tracks my steps, it tracks my activity, tracks my sleep. And every day I wake up, my wife got my wife one as well. And the first thing we do, what's your sleep score? What's your sleep score? By the way, I got an 82 this morning, which is not, super high, but at the same time, I'm not the world's greatest sleeper. I have a lot of days in the 60s and the 70s, which is very frustrating. But at the end of the day, by tracking it though, what I'm finding is I'm definitely trending in a very positive direction on the back of, waking up. And frankly, the first thing I do is check my sleep score. But the bottom line, I want to make sure everybody, are you moving enough? Bottom line, move. And also, but ideally in nature with bare feet and maybe your shirt off. But I don't want to complicate it, right? Like again, getting sun, vitamin D on your body, very important, right? Okay, but so Zen, so longevity, you got to move, track your sleep. Think about an Aura ring, and there's lots of, and there's Apple Watches and that kind of thing, but I just don't, an Apple Watch is just too much. The last thing I want is another way for people to communicate with me, quite frankly. So I leave the Apple Watch to the side. But okay, in spirit of Zen, I want you to think about this. You and your client are in mental pain because of one of two things. You don't have what you want, or you have what you don't want. You don't have what you want, or you have what you don't want. And the good news is by addressing it, looking at it and going, what, on those, in those two things, where are you at? You can do something about it, and progress equals happiness, right? So the problem is not in your situation. It's in how you relate to your situation, right? That is where the power lies in taking action. Small incremental steps in multiple areas give you a compounding effect, both in business, but also in your life, right? So my question is, what don't you have that you want? Or what do you have that you don't want, right? So I went spear fishing, actually snare fishing over the weekend. And we caught a 5-pound lobster in the wild, which I got to tell you, it's one of the coolest things I have ever done. This thing was, I don't know, 5-pound lobster might not sound very big for those that haven't held a lobster, but let me tell you, this was a big bugger. When I looked at it, I'm like, holy cow, man, like, I hope he doesn't eat us. But anyways, a total buzz. It got me thinking about this. The part of the arrow that does all of the damage is what? And it's literally just the tip, right? Like the rest is kind of just fluff. So a goal, we always talk about, you've got to decide what it is that you want. Remember, a goal is something you can see and a target is something you can hit, right? Make targets the tip of the arrow. What are they? It's 10 calls, it's 10 leads, it's 10 events, it's 10 attendees, it's 10 clients, it's $10,000 a month. Get stupidly clear And again, earlier I said, you've got to take action, right? You can have the greatest ideas in the world, but if you don't execute, you don't implement, you don't hold yourself accountable, you know what I mean? It's all for naught. So it's, what is a ready, aim, fire? It's fire, ready, aim, ready, or fire, aim, ready, whatever it is, but fire goes first. That's what I know, right? The readiness tends to stop people in their tracks. Anywho, shoots. So that's my Zen thought, bud. How am I doing?
Perfect. Hey, listen, I wanted to just circle back on something. Last week, we talked a bit about contrast. I'm not sure if you remember that conversation. And we had someone just kind of asking a little bit more about it. So how do we use contrast to increase the perception or the value of what we're selling? I thought that was a very good question. I wanted to get your thoughts on.
Love it. Yeah, I do remember. Okay, so think about, to give you a frame, think about this. There are only two ways to create economic value. What are they? Number one, create something people want and deliver it to them in a clever way. Number two, create something of value you can deliver and then find a clever way of making them want it. Okay, translation, delivery, and marketing. Through all the magic lives, right? So a mistake people make is spending all their time, all their money, all their people, staff, and resources towards what? And that would be objective value, right? So objective value is improving things like efficiency and effectiveness, like hiring an engineering firm and spending millions to get the train quicker from New York to LA is something that I wrote in an email not long ago, right? But subjective value would be making the train ride more enjoyable by having a first-class area, high-speed, Wi-Fi, a meditation area, a bar, a casino, a lounge, soundproof stations, beds, etc. Right? Or like you go to buy a Rolex, right? A Rolex salesperson, what do they do when they give you the watch? They put on white gloves when they're handling the $100,000 watches. Why do they do it? There's a reason behind it, right? A high-end hotel can save tens of millions by making, by adjusting things that are not necessary. You know what I mean? Like making the room, like, putting a bigger, like putting mirrors in the room as an example, again, makes the room feel a little bit more high end. Or maybe a better example of that is just an elevator that is glass versus an elevator that is slow. And by the way, the slow elevator gets what? It gets complaints. Well, as soon as you make it glass, those complaints tend to go away. So both objective and subjective should be considered, but which one sounds less expensive as an idea to start moving the needle, right? So making the elevator glass is far less expensive than hiring the engineering firm to redo the elevator system from start to finish. No doubt that makes sense, right? So without your help and direction, I can almost assure you your clients will stay in the more difficult and maybe more importantly, the more expensive area of objective, right? So like packaging as part of delivery, as part of a user experience, change the perception of the thing. Or maybe like packaging for an online store, right? Wrap products in like custom tissue with a handwritten thank you note and a small sticker seal, making unboxing it feel like opening a gift, right? Instead of plain brown boxes. Just think about when you got your iPhone, opening that bad boy is like an experience, right? They're doing this on steroids. Can your business owner's not going to be able to do it like Apple, but could they do that on a small scale? I dare say yes. Got to get creative, got to think outside the box. Or maybe local bakery, what could they do? Like use branded paper bags with a ribbon tie and include a free sample cookie, turning a simple pickup into a delightful kind of surprise and a delightful experience. It's cheaper than upgrading ovens and faster baking, right? Think of the elevator example. A retail clothing store that you've probably been in the last short period of time, use wooden hangers and mirrors with flattering lighting, plus offer complimentary tea while everybody is browsing. And it's going to elevate their shopping experience, make that the frame, right? Far less costly than expanding inventory. Or maybe it's a hair salon, right? Great clients, greet the clients as they come in by name with a warm towel and essential oil diffuser waiting area, which I don't know, is that a thing? Would that work? But I would dare say, right, depending upon who your audience is, if Road Dogg and I are the audience, probably not going to work. If our wives are the audience, I dare say yes. And it kind of creates that spa-like feel. That's what you're looking. Go to a high-end spa and go, how do they make me feel? And then bring that back to the hair salon. And certainly, less expensive than what do? The expensive renovations, or they end up hiring a significantly bigger place, right? Then like e-commerce shipping, send orders and reuse, but decorated UP boxes, use bubble wrap, stamp with your company logo and a QR code for a discount for the next purchase, right? Going to be adding perceived value without the expense of, custom boxes and that kind of thing. The bottom line, let your mind wander. But the bottom line is that there's objective and then subjective. You want to be thinking subjective as well as objective, whereas most people, their instincts, just leave them to their instincts and they will only stay in objective with ridiculous predictability. It can really be a needle mover for the average small business. I think experience is really what we're talking about here. Improve the client experience and just stare at Apple for ridiculously awesome examples. So that's my answer, bud. What do you think?
Love it. Again, it's so funny, right? It's all about how you make people feel, right? Like that's ultimately what it is. It's so crazy. Speaking of, what's probably the best experience that you ever had? Why don't we go personal for a second? Is there something that you can remember?
Yeah, well, I think I just said it. Apple, in fact, well, I tell you, I bought my daughter a iPad for Christmas, and like watching her unpack that thing was just crazy. And in fact, she used to, when she was younger, you'll know these, you know what an LOL doll is, Road Dog?
Of course I do.
Yeah. And like, it's so an LOL doll, and you might want to look this up, and you go to YouTube and you can watch kids 100% opening these things. But like the magic is far less the doll than the unpackaging a doll, right? It's got all these little secret compartments, and the shoes are one place and the hat's somewhere else. And like it's a full-blown experience. And the hat's got its own packaging and the shoes have got their own packaging. So it's like it's a 30-minute deal for her to unpack that. So you know what? And that wins. And think about the magic of that. They made opening it and the experience of opening it more exciting than the doll itself. Right. So what do you think once my daughter opens it up, what does she want to do? She wants to get another one. Right. And they've all got really cool names, like Little Rocker was one that was my favorite, scary as that might be. But anyway, so like Little Rocker, and they all have like names and outfits, and one's flowery and one's a rocker and one's a skateboarder, etc. Anyways, that was unreal. Your daughters, I would imagine, LOL dolls. Do you remember that?
Oh, I sure do. It's crazy because they'll like just the YouTube unboxing videos are popular, right? So
yeah.
When people say packaging doesn't matter, it's like, oh my gosh, like 100% it matters. It's just building the anticipation, right? It's crazy. It's crazy.
Packaging, man. Yeah, that's subjective all day long, twice on Sunday. So
right. It's no different. Yeah, like you said, it's no different with the Apple products and unboxing that stuff. And I've noticed other people obviously are stepping up their game with how things are, before you even get to the product. It's just, and most people hang on to the boxes that the phones come in. Like, it's just cardboard. Like, throw that crap out. So, anywho, why don't you close? I feel like all over the place today a little bit, very broad topics here, but why don't you close us out? Give us the one thing, like of all the things you discussed, if you had to pick just one, what's one thing that somebody could take out of this episode and implement into their coaching business today?
I think we got to AI. You've got to see this gasoline again. I have this conversation multiple times per week, right? AI, I'm nervous. Is it going to knock us out of our, the box, et cetera? My client's going to just go to ChatGPT and disregard me, et cetera. It is gasoline for your coaching and consulting business on steroids. And remember, you don't want to play not to lose. You got to play to win. And I know it can be a little bit intimidating, and it can be a little bit like, oh my gosh, right? You got to remember, learning versus knowing. You've really got to adopt the frame of learning. That's what we talked about last week. You just got to be accepting of it. And again, run to it instead of run away from it. But the magic is that I want you to, again, I am down the rabbit hole so far. You got no idea. And again, a bit of a love-hate relationship. Let's not be crazy, right? Like, believe me, I sometimes sit there shaking my head going, oh my gosh, I just want to work this stuff out. But the problem is there is no working it out because it moves so stinking fast that you got to stay on top of it. So what you've got to do, it's not the destination, it's the journey. You got to embody it. You got to embrace it. And you got to, again, run to it. Don't run away from it. You got to play to win. Right. So I would just say that understanding AI, and again, obviously we've integrated into the software at a ridiculously high level. So we've done a lot of that heavy lifting for our coaches, right? As they're able to use it, and they got Steve Jobs over their ear when they're talking about innovation, and they got me in their ear when they're talking about market dominating position. Said, the top accountant in the entire city, the entire state, and the entire country over their shoulders. They're talking to their landscaping client about shaving costs and reducing costs and where they can, jack their margins up a little bit, low-hanging fruit. So anyway, Shoots, run to it. Don't run away from it. Don't be, again, fear stops all. Don't let fear get in the way. Run to it. So that's my one thing, Shoots.
I had a bit of a light bulb there just for a second, and I just want to just throw it out there. And that is, if you're worried that AI is going to take away your job as a business consultant, if you're a business owner, would you know what questions to ask AI? Would you even know where to go? Or would you rather go to the person that knows and is leveraging and using AI to then, do business coaching? Wait for it. Here's a Karl Bryanism for you, on steroids. So that's sort of an interesting light bulb moment I just had there, Shoots.
Yeah. Oh, could not agree more. Again, and just see it as the frame, see it as gasoline. And, you want to take a small fire and turn it into a big fire, more gasoline. And the good news and the bad news at the same time is there's no shortage of AI gasoline out there, and there's no shortage of AI gasoline on the way. So learning versus knowing, dive in, folks, dive in.
There you go, folks. That's probably the best piece of advice right there. Just learn and dive in. Well, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Business Coaching Secrets. And again, if you're not on the inside and getting access to the pre-show, you aren't getting Karl's daily emails, or just want more information on how to build, grow, and scale your coaching company, do yourself the favor and head over to focused.com. Sign up and subscribe today. And also, if you enjoyed the podcast, please share and subscribe. Because we want to make our impact, right? Share this with as many other business coaches, salespeople, anybody that's looking to make an impact on the world. And while you're at it, please leave us a review. That is it for another week. Karl stole my line earlier, but I'm going to say it anyways. Remember, folks, progress equals happiness. Take care, everybody. We'll see you in the next episode.
Karl Bryan built Profit Acceleration Software 2.0. So as a business coach, you'll never again have to worry about working with business owners that can't afford your high-end coaching fees. Check us out at focused.com.